Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is lesson 672. Title of today's lesson is Do You Make Mistakes When Reading Years? Yeah, a lot of ESL students, surprisingly, have a lot of trouble with reading some years or certain years. But let's start with the easy ones, the ones that you may not really have too much trouble with. If it's on the hundreds, like we read 1700 or 1700 AD, 1900 AD, or if it was below 1000, you could say 800 AD. All right, and most of the years before 2000, we tend to read two digits. So, for example, we would read this as 1535 AD, 1972 AD. All right, now these are the easy ones. The tricky years are in the first decade of each century. When the third digit is 0, this is when it starts to get tough. Okay, so how should we read this one? Here we should read 1509. So we usually read it with an O. This is the most common way. Not 0, not 159. So we would read this as 1509, 1503, 1505. Sometimes in a more formal sense, you might hear someone read it as 1509. Okay. Same thing again. That would be read as 1803 or 1803 in the more formal sense. All right, now the first decade of the 21st century, we usually read it, again, slightly different, because now we have to start saying 2000. So if it was just like 000, this is the year 2000, but then we'd say 2003, 2001, 2004, 2007, that's the way you would read it. Sometimes, again, you may also hear some people say it's 2003, 2004. You may hear some people read it that way too. Okay, good. All right, now again, once you pass, you get up to 2010, we go back to the old way. You read it as two numbers. The year 2010, the year 2015, the year 2020. So we just go back to the normal way. And again, if it was back to the first century, we'd read this as either 1050 AD. You could read it that way, or you might hear some people say 1050 AD. Okay, anyway, I hope that was helpful. I hope you got it. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.